Gareth, we've picked up obviously a couple of whispers about the lads having a bit of a chat at half time and thrashing it out what had gone wrong. Can you give us any insight into what was said and how that went down?
Not really, because I wasn't in there at that moment. We always give them the first 3 or 4 minutes to themselves, and I think they were frustrated with the first half. But I always knew that was a risk, the first half today, because first match minutes of the season for several. So to be up against a team who were a top side and moving the ball as well as they were was one problem. We then had a tactical issue with dealing with Xhaka and Shaqiri dropping in deep, and we were too deep defensively, so the spaces were too big, and that meant even more running for lads that were just getting into their first game of the season. So we also gave the ball away too cheaply several times, which caused us problems. But I can't fault the players. I think they needed the game. It was important we gave them that opportunity. They dug in through that period, and we were able to make some tactical changes at half time and put some players into the game in the second half that are physically sharper, and the second half performance was much better, but I think that was quite predictable, really.
Gareth, is it something that you welcome, that the players take the initiative? They're obviously disappointed with themselves, if you like, and really sort of rise to the occasion and make it clear they want to improve.
Yeah, I think that's we always encourage them to have a voice. It's important that they feel close enough that they can get onto each other, and then we've got to make sure that that doesn't boil over. But as I say, it was quite calm by the time we got in there, I think that's a good sign that there's some leadership in the group, and they recognise when they want to be better. But I think today it's a little bit harsh on themselves, because I think to expect each other to be as sharp as they might be in their first starts for some of them is a bit unrealistic.
Okay, Matt Law. Don't bother, carry on without it.
Thanks, John.
Cheers, Grosser.
Obviously, Marcus has scored twice in his 2 games. Has he really kind of took his chance over this international period and given you something to think about going forward?
Well, we were very keen that he had the opportunity, that we were determined over this period to give him some match minutes. We think he's a big part of our future. We think he's a fantastic talent with a great mentality, and we've really talked to him a lot about being in the penalty box more, being higher up the pitch, and both of his goals have come in those areas, which is great for him. We know he can score some spectacular goals from long range, but the reality is you're going to be limited in numbers if that's where your goals are coming from. So I think his performances were good, his work for the team was fantastic, and I'm really pleased for him. I'm sure he'll feel very confident going into his games that are coming up. He obviously misses the next few, that's why we started him again today, real sort of breakthrough for him.
There's a lot of talk about Harry Kane being burnt out before the game. Why did you feel it necessary to bring him on for the half hour tonight? There's a bit of criticism about that, I think, on the television, etc.
Well, I think that he's going to be going back into matches with his club. He's had 3 days of little training, so to have half an hour was probably a perfect sort of amount of time just to keep him ticking over. If he didn't do anything today, he'd have probably gone back out and done some running on the pitch. So to have 30 minutes, no big issue. I think to start the game is a different sort of feel, and mentally is a different sort of thing. And also we wanted to finish the game strongly. We had to, a real jigsaw to try and piece together of minutes and at what stage we put people on and took people off. We've managed to get through the game in the end.
Gareth, I know you said that it was about the performance and you made a lot of changes for this, but is there any sense of relief that the run was avoided and it wasn't a fourth defeat?
Yeah, but I have a feeling we might be sitting here next month talking about fourth competitive defeat before the games next month. So we kind of know the way it works. I think it is important for us as a group, players and staff, to get a win against a top 10 team. So that's a pleasing fact. We know the performance could be better, but we also know that on Saturday we could quite feasibly end up with a draw, and that looks a bit different as well. So that's the nature of it. I'm just really pleased for the players. They've given absolutely everything through a really difficult period. I knew this week was going to be tough mentally to switch back from World Cup to these games, physically for all of the players, and 2 tough tests as well in terms of the games we had to play. So it's not been a perfect week by any means, but we finished with a win, which I think is important for us moving forward.
Gareth, I think you saw Paul Gascoigne in the tunnel before the game. I guess it was good to see him. I don't know how often you get a chance to see him, but do your younger players in the squad know about Gascoigne, know about his influence on the England side over the years, and did he offer to play?
He did offer to play. I've had a lot of hugs before and after the game. So I mean, it was lovely to see him. I've not seen him for quite a while. So, and his passion for the game and his passion for England is always huge. And he's desperate for the young lads to go and do well and enjoy their football. That's always been his mindset. So was great to see him. In terms of our players, they're obviously aware of him, but Rashford was born in '97, Trent born in '98. So that makes us all feel old, I guess. Neil.
Matt Hughes.
Gareth, you surprised by the Spain-Croatia result, and how do you think that will affect your Nations League campaign going forward?
Well, I'm not surprised in terms of Spain's quality. I would imagine Croatia have been through a similar experience to us. Their players, very little chance for pre-season, very little chance for league matches. I don't know what their lineup was. They obviously had a few changes for their friendly last night, but I don't know how many players were missing. So I think for the teams that got to the last 4, I mean, Roberto has the Harlem Globetrotters, and France have quite a lot of depth as well. But for ourselves and Croatia, we're a smaller pool of players probably, and we've asked a lot physically of the players through that tournament. We've really, our players gave, they were out on their feet by the end to get them back together to get a team out for that 3rd, 4th playoff. Physically was tough. Then they've had this minimal pre-season period, so I can imagine that Croatia have probably experienced something similar, and Spain are capable of tearing you apart if they're on song.
Any further questions, Rob?
Hi Gareth, you gave Ben Chilwell his debut tonight. What did you make of the brief time he was on, the 15 minutes, and what do you expect from him over the coming years?
Yeah, good. I thought he showed good presence, good confidence. He was the same in training yesterday. I liked the way that he didn't just come into the group and sit back and try and find his way slowly. He came into a 5-a-side and was straight into people and aggressive with his defending and looking to get forward with the ball. So I like what he's done end of last season, beginning of this season. We looked at bringing him into one of the camps before the World Cup just to train with us. We weren't able to do that. So I think he's progressing really well, and it's great that he's sort of established himself in the team here now, and he's going to really push for competition down that left side.